Pardon the up nose angle. Let's grab a few things. Hello, darlings. Oh, and that. Oh, this heat is something else. Rain is foggy as all get out. Hello, darling. Thank you. It's a very, very nice kitchen. 1920s, 1930s-ish craftsman. Where did I put my teeth? How's everybody doing? Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Getting some things put together real quick. Da-da. Sorry, getting the dentures in. Gotta make sure I wear them. Hello! How's everybody doing? Hopefully doing well. Hopefully hanging in there. It's warm. I just put on the air conditioning, so yeah. Figured we'd do a little something to eat. Hey! How you doing, B? Am I trying to snap that thing in backwards? Oh, I'm trying to snap the damn thing in backwards. Because they're so similarly shaped, and like when I have them out, I have it usually in a mirrored direction. I'm like, oh no, I'm trying to snap the bad boy in backwards. Hi. I've been on live recently. I have been on pretty decently, like consistently. But yeah, like, you know, this app has not been, hasn't been great. Doing better today than yesterday? Yay! How you doing? Today I'm feeling very they, them, even though I will be doing in a Bathory content later on tonight. Which means I have to be out of here by 8 p.m., which is like 3 hours from now, so. Yeah, oh my god, I went down the writing rabbit hole today, and I think I did a really good chapter. I'm just trying to I'm trying to decide. I think I got a good stopping point where I'm at, but I think like the next chapter is also going to be heavy. So like, darling, you forget I'm California. I'm on California time. Yeah. The joy of time zones. Yeah. I keep forgetting to, like, start with the, oh yeah, by the way, oh yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and put on a little bit of makeup and get more towards inner Bathory, darling. You gotta love it when they handle it with grace. That's honestly all we've been looking for. Right. Yes. Oh my god, yes. And it really felt like, I think it was one of those chapters It was one of those chapters I was avoiding writing. But, like, at the same point in time, I don't think I had quite the right mindset, quite the right, how the scene is supposed to progress. I'm just like, it needs to carry a certain gravity, so you can't start at 100. You gotta start something closer to, like, you're cruising along, you're doing 25. Suddenly, gas pedal gets stuck. Now we're going 40. 55. Oh shit, we hit 88. Oh crap, that's 100. Like, so yeah, I got that progression going forward. I think it did really well. I think I put it at a good ending place, especially for it to lead into that next chapter. Because the next chapter is going to be about Cuba. Because I've said it more than enough times in that goddamn story. I'm like, at some point in time, I'm going to have to explain this shit. But yeah, how's everybody doing? Let me make sure. Where's that? It's supposed to plug in here somewhere. I should have eaten the rice cakes first. And then done that. And then... Sort of. I'm working on a fan fiction. I like to write. I kind of rediscovered I liked writing when I started reading fan fiction again, and it really, like, dragged me in. And so I write Call of Duty fan fiction currently, and I'm working on some independent stories as well. But yeah, like, I'm polishing a lot of my style by writing one that is very BDSM heavy. With, like, a lot of consent, a lot more real world application versus the sensationalized version of what it is. And then the other one is Reverse Harem, Koenig Price and Ghost so far, with a lot of deep and heavy themes in it. Deals with mental health issues, deals with substance use, a whole bunch of other stuff, while also having some fun parts in it too. I would say, like, go to AO3, Archive of Our Own. They are a fantastic resource for, like, good fictions, good short stories. And if I can think of it, I will grab a couple of my favorite authors and tell you tell you their names next time around. Hello, darling. Ooh, okay, murder mystery. See, murder mysteries, not my forte. Definitely not my forte. I myself am more of a action adventure. Give me a bit of drama and a whole lot of, oh my god, that's hot. But I like to do it with, like, you know, the flair, the vim, the vigor, the wordage that I tend to use. So it becomes its own thing. That's right. Turn that down just a touch so I don't burn my butter. Yo! Aw, thank you so much, darling. I really do appreciate all the likes, all the loves. Ew. Coins. All the sharing. If you would like to find other ways to support me, because I am a content creator, I've been doing that as much as humanly possible, trying to cover my bills and all that other kind of good stuff. So if you'd like to support me in other places, feel free to check out those links and bios. There's a lot of direct ways. I am definitely making steps towards making sure everything is well-rounded, both on my more vanilla side, as well as my more spicy side. So please, feel free to take a look around. Everything should be mostly color-coded. Keys to the kingdom are on my throne room. Kingdom of the wicked, cursed, and feared. Ooh. Nice. Thank you. Always, I love my penguins because they will give good recommendations on a lot of stuff. If I lack, they make up. Hello, darlings. How are we? Sorry, getting a little bit of coffee put together here. So, what do we want to talk about today? Because there's a lot going on. There is so much going on. Between, you know, like Project 25. Oh my god. Project 47. Jesus fuck. Yeah. So, Project 47 is Trump's kind of Cliff Notes version of Project 2025. So, yeah, like, any which way that it goes, they are trying to implement it. And 2025 is not the start date. 2025 is the end date. 2025 is when they want to have it all completely implemented. They have been working for decades to put this into use, and right now that's why they're going so hard at banning things like medical health care and spicy workers and spicy videos and that kind of stuff. Like, all the stuff that you find fun, they're gonna get rid of, down to the artwork, down to every last one of your content creators, whether they are spicy or even mildly spicy, because at this point they haven't defined what they classify as corn or pornography. So whatever they feel like calling it. If a woman has too much cleavage, and, like, she could literally just be standing there, just happen to have cleavage, but too much, oh my goodness, it's that! And then shit happens badly. So, like, yo, happy Wednesday. So, what shall we speak on? Okay. Oh, thank you. The dress is from Shein. It's like, I think it was only like $15. It was a steal. It was really, really good. Oh yeah. Do my eyes before I completely forget. Right, yeah, I tend to get a lot of stuff from Shein because it's actually good, and especially at the price point that it is, but it's also like decent quality too, which is surprising, and I love that. There we go. Hello, hello. I will admit that, like, practically every ounce of the sewing industry mistreats its fucking workers, and it is incredibly hard to be ethical on a budget at fucking all. So I am not saying it's a perfect system. I am saying that is unfortunately at this point in time what I can afford. And I looked at what they rank. They actually rank higher than quite a few department stores. They rank higher than Rihanna's Savage Fenty. Like, yeah, it's just no. I didn't know. Trust me, I didn't take that as shaming. But you did bring up a very salient point about the ethics of. So yeah, no, I absolutely wanted to acknowledge that you are correct on the ethics level. It's one of those incredibly shaky slopes. So yeah, no, I didn't. Trust me, I did not take it as shaming. I took that as an opportunity to also point out the ethics of it, and the fact is, like, the ethics of the sewing industry, like the ethics of like most of the production industry, desperately needs to be overhauled. Way back when, turn of century, late 1800s or early 1900s, America was actually one of the #1 manufacturing powers in the world. We were freaking good. Like, if you wanted to get a good or service that lasted, that, like, you could not blow apart, that you could not, like, wear out, you came to the Americans. The Americans would build something so fucking tough, so freaking durable, so damn good, that, like, you could not rival the freaking quality. You just couldn't. And then, and then greed took over. And greed took over because the American Revolution happens, the Industrial Revolution, and then after that Industrial Revolution, the Workers' Revolution. So when workers started demanding unions because of things like the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, or the Radium Girls, or any other number of tragedies that happened within the production industry, when they started unionizing and demanding, like, set standards for labor, why do you think we have OSHA? Yeah, when we started having set standards for, like, labor and production, because we wanted to be safer, and because we, demanded actual wages, yeah, we got screwed hard. Why? Because a bunch of industries, rather than pay their workers and maybe take a tiny bit less in profits overall, instead of paying their workers better, they moved production to the next cheapest place that had lower standards of production. Not just you could pay your workers less, but they didn't have safety measures. So, yeah, no safety measures? Yeah. So they started with Mexico, then they moved further into South America, and again, as unions followed, as better work ethic and standards came along, they just moved production to a different place. And so they went from there to like India, to China, to a lot of like the small surrounding East Asian countries, you know, all to try and get the lowest bid, like the cheapest you could go on labor costs, the most violations that you could have on production, safety, value, and everything else. And then they also started implementing designed obsolescence. Shit used to last, and it used to last a very, very long time. Now, everything is breakable in roughly 2 months to about 2-3 years. That's why most warranties are at about 2 years. And then suddenly, shit starts breaking almost right after that 2-year warranty ran out. I wonder why. I wonder why. Yeah, we fucked up, okay? We fucked up a lot. But this is also why I appreciate that we are going back to actually wanting to have unions. Because honestly, in all truth, the unions do way more to protect you, especially when you treat your union like a community. Problem nowadays with certain unions, definitely not all, with certain unions, you're seeing people treating their presidential status or their board member status as something that makes them king. And they have forgotten that they work for the people who elected them, the head of the union. Yeah, like that's another problem, but it's also the fact that unions have not kept up their end of the bargain in leveraging collective bargaining to make wages higher. They really fell down on that. So it's like that dues, that union chunk that they take each time, it hurts more and more because you got less and less money to spend, and a lot of these unions are not stepping up and like going, hey, no, we're not getting paid enough. Our work conditions are suffering. Like, what the fuck? Like, I love UPS as a union. I do not like them as a company. But as a union, I think they're really failing their workers because they're letting their workers go out in this summer heat in unair-conditioned trucks without ways to really take breaks or you know, go to the bathroom, or even like drivers roll single. They should all have a helper with them. It would not only make things go faster and you know, bring down like needed run times and whatnot, but it would also make it safer for them to be out and delivering and doing all that work, especially in something like this heat. Because if one goes down, you've got somebody right next to you, you can take care of the whole situation. But they don't do that. And I blame that squarely on the union for not pushing harder. Because, I'm sorry, you're supposed to be working for your workers, and it seems like you're just mostly making sure they don't sort of get fired. I'm like, that's not good enough. Sort of not getting fired is fine and all, but you also need to make sure that people who need to get fired are getting fired. And people who don't need to get fired, who are doing their best at their job, are, you know, equally compensated for that work fairly so that they can live comfortably. And I do not understand anybody fighting against all workers being paid fairly so that they can live comfortably. It's the whole frickin' reason we had to have minimum wage put in place. And that's what it was. Literally, minimum wage was supposed to be a 40-hour work week, would cover a family of 4, groceries, car, housing, like the regular amenities like phone, radio, and or TV in your house, all bills paid, plus enough left over that you could have a savings account and that you could go on summer vacations that were anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. Nowadays, 40 hours on minimum wage? Are you fucking kidding me? No. And like, here's my biggest beef. Biggest beef. Biggest. In the 1950s, 1960s, we had tax brackets. Like, tax brackets for each, level of wealth that we denoted in society. And, like, a regular worker would pay a small amount. They pay their share. But most of the taxes fell on industry, on corporations, because they were bringing in the profit. And that meant more than enough money to spare. And we were being real nice because the government basically said, look, whatever your overhead is, whatever your payroll is, whatever you got to do for, keeping the business running, cool. We're not really taxing that. We are taxing your profit margin. So if your profit margin was like $1 million, we're going to take 10%. If your profit margin was like 10 million, we'd take 10% from that first million and then only 20% or so from that next 9 million. And then it would be, up and up and up. So each bracket you went, they taxed that bracket portion more, but everything below that was being taxed less. So, like, you really had to make a lot before you actually hit the ceiling, which was, like, something like 90% on anything over, like, I think it was 40 million way the heck back when 40 million was an exorbitant sum to be making as a corporation. And then Nixon came along, and then kick to the dick Reagan came along, and not only deregulated so much of that shit that corporations now routinely pay between 3 and 0%. Let that sink in. They also borrowed from a lot of social services and basically have bankrupted them, so that now my generation will very likely not see Social Security because Reagan took a shit ton of money out, along with several other politicians. And I am not even going to put that on one side. That is squarely on both. But yeah, they took a ton of money out of Social Security saying, oh, we'll pay it back. And they never did. And they never will unless we force them to. But yeah. I'm doing good. How you doing? Hello, darlings. Hello. How do you do? Husband has an 82-hour work week. 24 hours to cover the bills. Oh my god. Yeah, no. At 80 hours? Let's face it. 80 hours is over... What is it? 80 hours is almost half. Literally half of the 24-hour cycle in a week. In fact, let's see. Let's do the math on that. So 24, 48, 72, 80. Yeah, that's like 12 fucking hours a day. And I mean, and that's just holding steady. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, and like literally that's just holding you steady at comfortable. Like when that's a double. That's a double shift with some overtime. And the fact that you got to do that to be comfortable. And like comfortable does not mean, oh, we've got $1 million home with a swimming pool and 3 cars and 2 children and, a big screen TV. No, comfortable is like 3, maybe 4 bedroom home. Not mansion, home. Maybe you got a nice in-ground swimming pool out back, couple of nice cars that work well. You've had them probably for a while. Like, yeah, comfortable nowadays just means, hey, I'm not scrambling at the end of the month, and heaven forbid something were to happen where, like, we got sick with a really bad flu and had to take a week or 2 off. We could manage. Most people, unfortunately, do not have that. But yeah, no, I'll feel you. I'll feel you. Oh, wait, I forgot and put those in early. and then realized I wanted to eat and drink hot foods and drinks. So yeah, and that's the whole thing. Is like most of the time it does come down to just like, okay, what can we afford? Like, I'm not sure what the breaking point is going to be, but it feels like we're real close to one. Right, that part, and, okay, I'm going to be honest, I think they do that on purpose. I think they do that on purpose so that they can gentrify certain areas, push the poors into certain areas, and then keep them as undereducated as possible. And keep them as oppressed, and I do mean oppressed, as possible. So that they can't get together, organize coherently, and dunk these dipwads where they belong. And again, this is the shit that angers me. Because you shouldn't be trying to make your populace poor. You shouldn't be treating them like serfs or peasants, because that's what we are right now. It really is. But above all that, they keep making us sick. And keep making us sick, and then expecting us to work through it. Like, in the worst game of Darwinism ever. And it sucks ass. Because, like, trying to convince everybody at once that we just all need to go and just literally sit on our hands and do nothing but take care of our neighbors for a couple of weeks. Oh my god, they would panic. They would absolutely shit themselves. Same. I'm so tapped out on every level, and everything I have tried is just getting no forward momentum, to the point where I'm just like, I'm just gonna start selling every last bit of my possessions that I can, honestly, at this point. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. So yeah, it's just like, it's bonkers right now. And they're making homelessness illegal, but they didn't outlaw slavery. So when they send you into a debtor's prison, which is basically what they are setting up right now, when they send you into a debtor's prison for loitering, for littering, or for any other coded infraction that you would get as a person being without a home. And we have really no system in place to help us get people back on the grid once they have been homeless. Because in order to get a job, more often than not, you need an actual residence. You need an address. You can't just have a P.O. box. In order to get a lot of your mail, you gotta have, oh, that's right, an address. Or you have to be able to afford a P.O. box, which I don't know if you have, like, looked into P.O. boxes at even the post office. Those things are fucking expensive. They are beyond expensive. They are not something you would be able to afford as a person without a house or without a job. So it's like they just keep doing things to disappear people. To the point where, honestly, like, I don't know what the solution is that doesn't involve some pretty nasty acts. That part. And that's why I 1,000% support ethical hunting, ethical livestock raising, all that kind of, like, shit's too expensive otherwise. Yeah. Nice. Oh, goodness. Hello, darlings. How are we doing today? Don't worry. Yes, we're going to have some heavy conversation, some light conversation. It goes all over the place. Don't worry. Just come on in. We get some of the emotions, some of the anxiety, some of the feelings out. We process them, and then we make some dark humor jokes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And again, that one you can, like, fully set on, like, on Nixon and Reagan. They undid. Like, yes, the healthcare industry, especially the mental healthcare industry, desperately needed to be overhauled, but he cut all of the funding to that shit and just either made it unavailable or just unavailable. Just wholly unavailable. But yeah, like, they on purpose do not treat mental health, even though so many of us have it. And you know what? Some mental health is acquired. That's right, some mental health you're born with. Some of it you acquire through, like, trauma. And living in poverty is trauma. It can trigger shit. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Do you want to know my honest answer to, so if there's no mental health care, how can individuals, or how are we supposed to be able to survive, thrive, and be productive? Oh, I'm eating rice cakes. I'm so sorry. They are freshly grilled up rice cakes from H Mart. Wonderful little Korean grocery store. I absolutely love them. They're lovely. They're chewy. Just and I've got a spicy peanut butter sauce that I made. So basically, a bit of creamy peanut butter, some sesame seed oil, onion powder, garlic powder, just a touch of salt, a touch of the Worcestershire sauce, and I can say that without the fangs in. Don't ask. And there was one other thing I put in there, I thought. But yeah, just I made it a little bit spicy, a little bit nutty, and it's good. Thank you, sugar. Just a touch of sugar. Yeah, no, they don't exactly want us to thrive. They want us to be just functional enough that they can point us in a direction and make us do a repeated thing. They don't care if we are mentally healthy while doing it. Because to them, we, the 95%, do not matter whatsoever. We are just cogs to be worked until broken. They don't actually care that we exist because they don't recognize that our work is the only reason they are surviving. If not for us, they would literally starve to death. They would. But yeah, they don't want to admit that we are the reason their crops get picked. They don't want to admit that they are, we're the reason the crops even get grown in the first place. Like, show me one of those assholes who knows how to grow a tomato, let alone what part of a rhubarb plant is safe to harvest. Oh, are they switching to a 4-day work week with the same... Oh, with the same amount of money? Yes! Yes! Tell them yes. Tell them yes. Tell them yes, and look up the German studies about a reduced hour work week and productivity. It is fantastic. So yes, that is the way to go. That is the way to... Like, honestly, if you were to look at Europe and what their work week and what their work-life balance looks like compared to ours, you'd be amazed how fast people would be French. Like, if they really knew how bad we are compared to the rest of the world, especially at the top. At the top? Oh my God. Oh, yes! Fuck yes! Oh, I love that they got a whole research team up in there. Fuck yes! Oh, it's gonna be so good. I love that. I freaking love that. 3 days remote and you work on site? Fuck yeah! I'm not happy that they keep bringing you in. But I am glad that it's like 3 days work remote. That's a big balance right there. And then increase in salary. Fuck yeah. Yeah. And that's the whole thing, is like these 40-hour work weeks are actually making us less productive. You can get something like 90% of your work done in the first 4 hours of work. After that, you become exponentially less productive. A, you're tired. You need a nap. But secondly, there's no more actual work to be done. It's just busy work at that point in time. And honestly, the last thing you want to do is overwork a factory worker. If you overwork a factory worker, that's when you have more factory accidents. Factory accidents are costly. That's why you should also not work children in factories. I am looking at you, Hyundai, and the poultry industry, and sweatshops in the clothing industry, and just so many other places. It's fucked up right now. And it's gonna take a lot of undoing, but we can do it. Thank you. Honestly, thank you. I do love that we are balancing that out a little bit. So a little bit of, but a little bit of, yeah, every now and again. That is a good thing. Right? No, well, here's the thing. You want to know one of the biggest reasons they are fighting to get us back into buildings? It's not just to justify their mid-level managers who just sit there and micromanage you. Because if they don't have the mid-level managers, if you can just do shit on your own, that position could get eliminated. If that position gets eliminated, you get a lot of nepos who are getting kicked out of overpaid job titles. On top of that, and this is the part that I just want to punch somebody in the dick about, on top of that, it is because a lot of these corporations are invested in real estate. If there is nobody in these buildings, it is costing them more to not only rent, but have electricity and plumbing and everything else ready and running in those buildings. And they are no longer making money in those buildings. So that's an extra cost. An extra cost that nobody wants to absorb. So yeah, they want you back in there so that it justifies the rent, basically. And if they don't need to justify the rent, just saying. Like, honestly, most jobs could be done from home. We could reduce a lot of building sizes quite a bit, or even convert a lot of buildings into low-income housing, or shit. Just tell real estate companies that build these big apartment buildings and then leave them 90% unfilled, that, hey, guess what? We're going to move people who don't have homes in here. You're not renting them out anyways. We're taking over. So we're going to have people who need houses in houses. They're going to be paying a little bit. We're going to help get them, back into the job market and all this kind of good stuff. And we go from there. But yeah, like the fact that they are all working hand in hand, it literally will take the masses en masse just literally standing there going, nope, we're not doing it anymore. We don't care what you say. We've got a master locksmith over here. We're getting into those. We're moving people in. And by the way, if you bring anybody around here who's going to try and brutalize our community members, we're going to return it with the same amount of favor. And that has them running scared at the thought. Oh, thank you, darling. Not even quite done with it. I'm just slowly eating a rice cake. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't overfilling too quickly. Right. But who wants better efficiency, huh? Well, and that's the other thing. If they can keep us poor, they can keep us, workers, from starting our own small businesses. And they've worked really hard to put every single mom and pop they could out of business, so that there wasn't actually free market, so that there wasn't innovation, so that there wasn't, competition from small mom and pops who are actually giving a better product and caring for the community. So well, I mean, yeah, you made the most in real estate, but was it the ethical? Was there an ethical concern? Was there, but again, you're probably dealing with people who have, much higher tax brackets than what you would normally access. So I don't blame the worker. I blame the overall. I blame the 5%, not the 95%. Ooh, yes. Honestly, I think industrial parks should be required to be gardens. With like either underground irrigation or drip irrigation of some variety, but it should be some sort of, fruit trees, edibles. Like, edible bushes, not necessarily edible, like, lettuce, because lettuce transfers a lot of things, but no, like, edible fruit, edible things that can be eaten, that are then taught about. Thank you, darling. Yeah, no, food should never be optional. Yeah, no, trust, and I will agree with you wholeheartedly, because I was brainwashed for the longest time. I bought in on everything. I'm like, yeah, if we just do this, this'll happen, it'll all be good. We're doing this for a reason. We're doing this for a reason. We're doing this for... What the fuck is the reason we are doing this for? Oh, we've been lied to. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. Like, yeah. Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, when you don't lie to the public, your company gets mad because the public goes, oh, you're in a flood zone? Oh, you're making me live in a soup bowl? I should probably buy elsewhere? Thank you. I didn't want to get flooded out because that would cost my insurance. Like, duh. Oh, yeah. No, and that's my other thing is, why were prices allowed to go up at all during a pandemic? Why? And why does the top 5% income dictate what the 95% then have to pay? Because they go, oh my god, the economy is so robust, it's so healthy, so much money is being made, we can bring up prices. So much money is being made because they have all of it. And they're just trading it back and forth. And they're bleeding us for the last little bits of it. That's the only reason. That is the only reason. If we just went, money doesn't exist. You know what? No. Fuck you. Money doesn't exist. You have no clout over us now. Now what? Fuck yeah. Yeah, and like, honestly, we we the people need to start bringing class action suits for how often we have been fucked over, price gouged. Like, the fact that any company, especially water companies, are allowed to buy leases on water tables for like 20, 25 bucks a year for decades on end. Nestle can suck my left lip. I won't tell you which one. But like, Nestle has a $25 water permit in California, and they are just draining our water table. And then they sit there smiling and sell the goddamn water back to us, or take it out of state and sell it for like $10 per case. So literally, you buy 3 cases of water, and I have paid for the water permit for a giant ass corporation. I am livid. Yeah. And there ain't no shame in that. Oh, which reminds me, if you want to, if it's within your scope, my dear sweet penguins and everybody else who's watching, for Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation, which put that together, they are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And it is against the law, quite literally illegal, for them to petition or otherwise participate in politics, especially for a specified candidate or party. And they have done both of those. They began their 501c3 in 1973 and have basically been doing this for like the last 50 years. So they need to be reported to the IRS. I know that there's some master documents out there that different wonderful creators have put together. And basically it's just a form you fill out, you report them to the IRS, send that form in, report them to the IRS, and the IRS needs to start looking into them. They also have master documents on other 501c3s that are in violation. Oh my god. Oh, don't even get me started on frackers. Fuck frackers. Fuck frackers. Okay, so if you don't know what fracking is when you take basically a water-powered drill and drill into layers of like shale and basalt and other certain kinds of rocks that tend to have pockets of natural gases and whatnot in them, and then they collect from there. Well, in doing so, it often poisons a lot of the groundwater, a lot of the surrounding area, and it drains usually nearby water tables, which can cause hollows underneath, and then those can cause like giant sinkholes, earthquakes, like full-on tectonic shifts. So yeah, like it's really not good. And then when that poisoned water goes to, say, like your local, through the local plumbing and comes out your sink, sometimes it catches fire. Sometimes it just comes out so brown that it looks like septic tank water, and you cannot drink it, you cannot wash with it, you can't do anything with it, and you have to make sure not to feed it to your animals or to your crops. Like, and they're allowed to just do this. Wholly unchallenged most of the time. There's a reason I don't support RuPaul and feel incredibly guilty for watching RuPaul's Drag Race. And it's because RuPaul was, and still is, I believe, a major investor in fracking, and has basically said, oh the fuck well, get over it, I'm making mine. Amongst other problematic things that he has done. So, yeah. That part. Like, if you want to know where there are earthquakes going on in your area, most states, and sometimes even some counties, have seismic activity monitoring stations. And you can actually look those up online. And so, yeah, like, you just, like, seismic activity monitoring station. And it'll tell you, basically, where you're getting earthquakes from. And you can see if they are areas that normally get earthquakes, don't usually get earthquakes. Are they an active fault line? Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can find out from these reports. And again, I would actually say start your research here on TikTok, because we have a lot of like specialized educational educators and teachers on here, and so they will actually give you like better information and ways to go about it, and what specific search terms to look for, and some of them already correlate the data for you, which is such a fantastic resource in and of itself. Yeah. Like, yeah, like when even your pets, like, and that's the big thing. It's like even your pets are very much exposed to a lot of these dangers. It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. Right. Well, I find it, see, like, so, not that I love TikTok. Trust me, I don't like the overall platform makes my ass itch. Whole different thing, though. But overall, the talking point of, oh, it's sad that dancing app gives us all this good information. I kind of love it. And honestly, on my like first year or so on this platform, because I think I joined like 2018-ish or something to that effect. When I got on this app, yeah, there was a lot of dancing, a lot of singing, a lot of short stuff, but also a lot of short information. Short, easy to remember information from regular people. From regular people. And then we hit the panini, and the panini sucked. But it gave us more time to actually look and not be bothered with a bunch of micromanagement, because a lot of us had to stay home and just had a lot more time and a lot less manager bill over your fucking shoulder breathing into your ear hole going, wow, that's really, pretty top you have on, and I have a daughter your age. Would you like to go out for a drink? And you're just going, I am just trying not to be fired because I like living in my apartment. Get the fuck away from me. Like, but when we finally got to pull back and just be human for a while and just look at all this information that was coming through, we started learning more shit. And we started learning shit in real time, or with a lot less delay, and with a lot less censoring, and with a lot more angles. So it wasn't just, oh, here, 11 o'clock news, this is the only thing we could show up to because we only have like 2 vans and there was 40 things going on, but we picked one fluff piece and one piece that needed to be looked at because there was no way to avoid it. Here, we had everyday people going, yeah, I don't know what they were going on about, but the newscaster got it wrong. Like, here's what happened from a different angle. I took it on my phone. I hope it helps. There you go. And, like, we didn't expect to be paid for information that would keep us sane, healthy, sanitary, information that would keep us entertained. I've learned more, and I have 2 fucking college degrees. I have learned more on this app in the last few years about subject matters I would have never thought to look into, and it has been glorious. I have loved it. I have learned about space. I didn't know space had, like I knew about black holes. I didn't know that a galaxy could be so close to a black hole that it would bend the very vision of what that galaxy was, and that we could recreate it. I didn't know that the light from a galaxy could travel through, then be dispersed around, and then refocused in front of a black hole. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And they're like, see this picture with all these weird lights? Yeah, these are all the same galaxy, just from slightly different re-emergence points coming out from around a black hole. I'm like, the fuck? I've learned about quantum physics. Still don't understand for shit. I still don't understand for shit. But from what I do understand, we now know that matter can function independently whether it is perceived or not perceived. When it is not perceived, it can function differently than if it is perceived. Meaning, reality is subjective. I'm like, that's fucking wild. Right? It fucking bends. Certain black holes could fit in the size of your hand. I thought they were all, really big, because they come from stars. They're going to be really big. No, there are ones that can fit in the palm of your hand. I mean, that hand would no longer be there. Neither would you, but like, size-wise. Size of a freaking quarter. Grass is not green, right? Carl Jung, for every grain of sand, it's a galaxy. That part. You mean Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan. I was like, wait. Jung is psychology, sociology. I was like, Sagan? Yeah, because I remember, like, Sagan was the pull all the way out, go all the way in. Yeah, just, oh my god, freaking love it. Right, we see green. We didn't used to see, I guess we didn't used to see blue. We used to see purple, though. And then, I guess, there was some divergence in the way our eyes perceived things, and we now see a broader range of spectrum. Oh, don't worry, you're fine. Don't worry. I almost went with you, too, because, like, Carl Jung, Carl Sagan, you don't always have them on the front of your tongue. Don't worry about it. The ocean's not blue. That's just, we're seeing basically the layer of light that is being absorbed versus what's being reflected. So, like, the deeper you go, the more that light has to travel. So the one thing that you see is the longest wavelength, which is the bluer end of the wavelength for the most part. As it gets a little bit shallower, you tend to see more of the greens. And then as you come up more and more, it becomes more blended together so that you get full saturation and white light towards the top. I fucking love that shit. I love this stuff. I just fucking do. But yeah, like, this world is way more complicated. But I've also had to, I've had to learn things about taxes. I've had to learn things about politics. I learned things about small businesses. Like, a lot of stuff I knew, but, like, I didn't know to what depth a lot of that shit went. Like, I didn't know that the Pinkertons still existed. I knew the Pinkertons were an old school PI firm, one of the first ones that was established here in the United States. They actually worked as a proto-secret service for Abraham Lincoln. The PI firm built itself into corporate thugs for hire. The Pinkertons are the a-holes who were hired by Blair Mountain Mining Company, the mining company that was there, to basically beat down the coal miners' union. And they would go around and threaten and harass and violently interact with the miners. All because the mining company basically wanted to pay them next to nothing, work them until they couldn't even survive. They had no safety regulations whatsoever, and a lot of these guys were coming up with, like, they called it miner's lung, basically black lung, because they'd be sitting there breathing in coal dust all day long with no respirators, nothing to actually keep them away from that. Like, there wasn't, like, safety structures in place, so they'd have cave-ins all the time. Like, yeah, like the canary in the coal mine, the canary wasn't there for the dust. The canary was there for the pockets of natural gas, because a lot of these coal mines, I guess, ran afoul of flint, granite, and certain other rocks that, if struck by a pickaxe, could spark. And if it sparked near natural gas pocket, that entire part of your mind is cave in. And so, yeah, the Pinkertons came in, and instead of going, hey, they have a point, you should probably be, like, way safer with their lives and take care of them and pay them decently. Oh, no, the Pinkertons came in, beat on them, harassed them, unalived quite a number of them, and made it so bad that they ended up having a full-ass, like, beat-down, like, miniature civil war that you've never heard of, or next to nobody has ever heard of. And, like, we're just never taught that part of history, that, oh yeah, that was a full-scale army versus miners on U.S. soil, funded by corporation. Hey! Yeah, the Hemps are still there, and they're still doing okay. But yeah, no, the Pinkertons still exist. Nothing's going my way, really. It is what it is. I keep soldiering forward as best I can. This is why I have tried to diversify and try and do as much as I can. Right? But yeah, no, the Pinkertons to this day still exist, and they're the reason a lot of people started boycotting Amazon as well as Starbucks, because both companies hired Pinkertons to come in and harass the members who are trying to get a union installed, a union run by the workers. Not just a pre-existing, they want their own workers' union that advocates for what they specifically need. And yeah, they've been bringing in Pinkertons. The Pinkertons have showed up and harassed, violently interacted with, and otherwise mistreated. Like, so frickin' many people. Pinkertons were hired by Wizards of the West Coast to go and harass and physically intimidate somebody that they had sent, like, a promo or something early. So, like, the person got it, like, a couple of days in advance of everybody else. And they literally sent the Pinkertons to beat this person's door down. So, fuck Wizards of the West Coast. They can eat my other left lip. I only have so many left lips. But, yeah, like, the fact that they are allowed to exist and that they are allowed to harass people and that our government does nothing about them, let alone nothing about, like, the fact of them showing up at somebody's fucking doorstep, like, the shit. Ooh, yes. No, I watched a bit of Deadwood way back in the day. Way back in the day. And I did rather love them, and they had lovely costumes. You know me, darling, I love a good costume. Yeah. Costumes are absolutely lovely. We used to have a Deadwood party years and years ago when I was actually doing Renaissance Fair, because we'd have like after hours parties. We did a few of those. They were fun. They were a lot of fun. But yeah. The amount of stuff that corporations are allowed to get away with, especially since most average citizens don't know that you can challenge a lot of this shit legally. You can challenge it. And that's the whole thing, is we, the people, like the 95% of us, we, the people, need to, like, literally start standing up for each other and filing the lawsuits, getting the class actions together, naming every single corporation. Because, like, something like 5 corporations own 80+% or something like that of all companies, which is fucking wild. That is a monopoly with extra steps, and we honestly need to bring that to bear. There we go. Yeah, no, I've done that too. You go to bed, or that, you know, they knock you out and you wake up screaming. I've definitely been there, but I'm glad it went well. I'm sorry you woke up screaming, but I'm glad you went well. Right, that part. Well, when you do something like a class action, a lot of lawyers will basically take the hit on the front end because they're going to take from the payout. With a class action, you're not necessarily looking to get all the money back. You're more like looking to set a precedence so that they are not able to do it again. So, yeah, it's about setting precedence at this point. Honestly, all I did was a little bit of gold eyeshadow because it's too hot for me to actually, like, wear foundation. It would slide off my face. But yeah, basically I put gold eyeshadow. I'm going to add a little bit of an eyeliner over it. I did a black base of Kat Von D's Witches, and then JL Magic. The Void is the name of this shade. And then just a touch of Game Night applied with a brush directly onto the lip. It's simple, it's quick. Like, it's 10-minute makeup, okay? Like, to me, if I can't walk out my door in roughly 10 minutes, because Lord knows I don't like going outside much, then, you know, I'm not going to put it on. But yeah, like, if I can do it in 10 minutes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I used to be on the mathletes in high school. I joined the nerd clubs on purpose. You're welcome. Which vaccine? Because there are a lot of vaccines, but, like, which vaccine? Because yes, there was definitely, like, there's a need for medical testing with a whole lot of consent, a whole lot of informed consent. But yeah, like, the fact that we don't test certain things more before we put them out to the public, I want to say in the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s, there were certain medications that could cause massive fetal abnormalities. Quite often a shortened arm or leg was the particular abnormality, and if it was mild, you got one, like, minorly shortened arm or minorly shortened leg. But when it was bad, you had babies literally with, like, no arms, no legs. It was bad. Right, exactly. And the public could not have known these risks, but the medical companies. They were really slapdash on who they tested on, and we have found that they did not test on people who had pregnancy, people who were female. They just tested it on men and went, good enough. They're still doing that shit. They are still doing that shit. And so yeah, when the pregnant population finally got the medication, that's when they found out, and a lot of them just tried to bury it and go, oh, are you sure it was our medication that did that to your kid? Or maybe you were drinking a little, maybe you're smoking a little, maybe you were doing something. It was like classic Darvo gaslighting bullshit. And they buried a lot of that information for quite some time. So when it finally came through that they were lying, that they were hiding shit, that this stuff was really bad for you. Because, like, yeah, once they figured out it was bad for you, they were like, you might want to avoid this medication. But a lot of damage had already been done. And sometimes that medication, like, stuck around in the system for a while. So, like, yeah, it wasn't just, just stop taking it one day and you'll be free and clear the next week. Like, no, it could stick around for a while. But again, they didn't test any of this shit. Or they tested it very, very little. And they're still doing that kind of stuff to this day, where we don't know always what a medication will do long term. Which is a fucking shame. Because, again, so much potential for good, but, like, it needs to be well tested and well informed. Well, nowadays, you do have to be better informed and consented. But on top of that, and I don't know why we don't talk about this more, there are centers where you can report having a bad reaction to a vaccine, and there are actual funds set up to help compensate people who've had a very bad reaction to a vaccine. But we don't tell people about that, so they just think they have to live with whatever happened, and that there is nobody to report to. For the longest time, we've actually had somebody to report to and ways to get compensated. But, like, again, most of the populace were not told about this. And so, again, we were left out on the ass end while nobody took care of us. It's the lack of information. It's the lack of informed consent that really pisses me off. So, like, most vaccines, I'm going to say 1,000%, they are needed. They are absolutely needed. At the same point in time, there needs to be real damn good research on them. And very, very few should be rushed at any point in time. Which, by the way, the COVID vaccine wasn't rushed. We've known about COVID for a very long time. It's a part of the SARS family. So we've known about it. We just... It was mostly, I guess, in animals, and we didn't know it was going to become zoonotic and jump. So, yeah, we knew about it, but then we had to, like, twist some of the technology so that it would work on our systems without hurting us. Mm-hmm. That part. Oh my god, that part. Yeah. Oh, poor baby. Yep, that part. Yeah, so yeah, like, when a vaccine harms you, there is supposed to be, like, the company is supposed to be fed in on the loop, given the information, and like, you should be compensated for the harm that it caused. Yeah, there we go. I think it started in bovines, or it showed up, I should say, in bovines, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, like, this whole thing, it started in a wet market in China. No, it didn't. No, in the fuck it didn't. That's like saying Spanish flu started in Spain. No, it didn't. The virulent shit probably originated here in the America. Hi. Yeah, we suck. Oh, good. Oh, I'm so happy that it was just a small thing that was easily taken care of. Yay! Oh, we love... I was like, you're gonna have to mourn a cat. I'm just gonna have to do that quietly. Oh, yeah, he's good. He's fine. We're not having a sad, here, Yeller, come back, Yeller, in my head anymore. Oh, thank you for clearing that up. Seriously, I'm just gonna be sad over here in my own quiet little head. I'm gonna process this for a moment. But yeah, like, that's how it's supposed to go. People are supposed to be informed. People are supposed to be well compensated and taken care of. I fucking love animals who can talk. Like, that makes me giddy to know it. I fucking love animals who can talk. I love the fact that we are giving animals ways to communicate. I wish we were just doing that for everybody. Like, I wish not only we were encouraging animals to do so, but I also wish that we were easily providing that for people who need different ways to communicate, instead of making them spend thousands, if not more. Like, here's my whole thing. Accommodations don't just help the person that it is accommodating, it is helping society at large. And I can give examples. I can give fucking examples. So, when you need something like, let's see, to get into a store, those automatic doors are really good for people who are in wheelchairs, who are in walkers, who can't necessarily push through revolving doors, and who can't necessarily open a pull door. Automatic door opens, they walk through, they are accommodated. Now, when you're coming out with a big, heavy trolley, or shopping cart, whichever you want to call it, wherever you're from, when you're coming out, do you want to have to go in front, pull open a heavy door, pull your cart through, then keep on pushing? Or is it easier if the doors just slide open on their own and you walk out without having to break your stride? Those little rough nubs at the end of that lip when you're coming out of a grocery store, those are so blind people know which way the door is facing and which way to walk. Those nubs also slow your cart down as you're going back out, so that you, as you're usually passing by one of those large pillars that are holding up your grocery store awnings and fronts, as you go out, those slow you down so you don't just slide out in front of traffic that may be coming by, and it has reduced the amount of injuries and amount of accidents that people have had with carts and cars. That cart return place, that also reduces accidents and injuries, and it declutters the parking lot so that you're not liable to damage your vehicle or be struck by somebody bumping into one of those things and it ricocheting off and nabbing you. So, like, accommodation is for everyone. Accommodation helps the entirety of society. Accommodation is a good thing, and why we don't provide it is beyond me. For me, I do think that service animals should have like a placard, a licensing, a tabbing or something that denotes them as being a service animal with like training and whatnot. And I think it should be highly illegal to manufacture one of those. So if you're a person who needs a service dog, they automatically are like, here's the training, it's been signed off on, here's all the things, here's your old placard, it stays on the animal. This way, you walk in, anybody in the building goes, oh, that's a service placard. You're trained, you're good, you can go. Whereas somebody else goes, this is my 2-pound Shih Tzu Chihuahua mix. It pisses from its eyes and barks incessantly, but I need it as a service animal or else I will pass away. What kind of service does it do? Huh? What kind of service does it? Does it monitor your blood sugar? No, I don't have diabetes. Okay. Does it make sure that you don't have like a POTS episode or that your heart rate spikes? Oh no, I am like totally healthy. Then what does your Pit Tzu do? Like, seriously. What's my emotional support animal? Is it because you almost locked it in your car like 5 seconds ago on 125 degree heat days? So, like, sure about that? I'm not saying that I want to hold Bramberly under the water until the bubbles stop. But it's tempting. And then they never bring, like, cleanup bags. They don't, like, I watched dogs full on piss all over the place. And then they're like, oh my God, my dog never does that. Your dog never pees? Really? Your dog never pees? Your dog never has to use the restroom? Really? Really? I'm having trouble believing that. And you should have the things to clean up after your animal, your service animal. And most people with actual service animals do. Those who don't, don't. So, yeah. Oh my God, right? Oh my God. And like, keep your dog on a damn lead. Keep your dog on a damn lead. Do not let them off leash. For any number of reasons, do not let them off leash, especially in public, unless you're at a dog park. And honestly, there are times that I think the dog park should require like an obedience training class once a month. That if you're going to show up to the dog park, you're going to show up to an obedience class, because we're going to make sure we don't have just, you know, Cujo in pug form going buck-ass wild. Right? I mean, they might heal your inner wounds, but they can heal your inner wounds at home. This is a public space where there's a certain level of health and safety and training that is needed, so yeah. Oh, base layer is Kat Von D Witches, the layer over that is JL Magic's The Void, and then the in-between, this little beautiful gold number, is from my Tetris palette, and it's called Game Night. Thank you. But you know, hey, I'm just saying. Actually, let's go and going to take a wander. Give me half a second. We're just moving real quick. Moving locations. Give me half a second. Yes. New place unlocked. Sorry, it's just terminally hot in there, so I figured let's at least go where I can open a freaking window. Hello, darlings. Okay, so what are we talking about? Where do we want to go from here? But yeah, like, there's a lot that is fucked up about society, but there's also a lot of good stuff in society. I just don't think we always are told as citizens what we can do, what kind of good can we do for each other. And part of that is like holding corporations responsible for what they do, but also like making our government do what we are requesting them to do. Because like when 70% of us say, hey, this thing is really important, we kind of need to look at it, and they go, no. Pretty sure 70% of us would like better healthcare, so don't pat us on the head. We actually need to have this conversation. Don't worry, we got this covered. No, you don't, because we're all suffering back here. It's okay. Like, it's not. But also, I don't want people to despair and think that if we lose federal, that it's all for naught. Federal is deeply corrupt right now. It is. And it's going to take a long time, if we can, to get it cleaned up. It also needs massive overhaul. There's a whole bunch of other shit going on. All that kind of stuff. But local elections are a really, really good way to help speed up being able to correct stuff at a higher level. Local elections are desperately needed. Term limits are desperately needed. Oh my god, term limits are so fucking needed. Like, you should only be able to maybe run for 2, maybe 3 terms as a congressperson or as a local level kind of person. Hey! B, we desperately need legislation that forces anybody who brings legislation to bear, forward, whatever, to have plain language. A lot of times, a lot of us are being tricked into voting for something because of the way the legalese or the jargon is presented. And an average layperson is not going to understand all of the jargon, all of the legalese, and then for the implications of that. We need plain language. There needs to be plain language. And like, there also needs to be kind of a bit more spirit of the law explained in that, because anybody who tries to go in and then go, well, it's legal. Rules lawyers, semantics of it. That kind of shit, people need to learn that you don't play with that. Don't play with that. But, again, broader problems, smaller strokes. We slowly get it done. Hey, Faye, how you doing, darling? Hey, Callie girl, how you doing? How's everybody? We're sitting, we're getting a little bit of air and whatnot, just hanging out, talking. And y'all can, ask me to talk about anything and everything. Bring it. I like the banter. I like the interaction. Because it's fine and all to let me talk. Because we all know that I can. We all know that I can. But, subjects that concern y'all, at the moment, may be, slightly different. Ooh. Actually, I think I can take you outside. I will show you my garden. Because we're actually here at basically my back porch anyways. So chop and drop, I need to clean up a lot of this. But there you go. So I cut this way back. You can already see that my strawberries are getting a little bit better, healthier. I need to trim back my parsley just a touch. Look at how oh my god, those look so good. I think I'll be picking some strawberries tomorrow. And see how healthy those are. My mint's doing a lot better. So is the rest of my cabbage. And of course all my freaking sweet potato vines going ham. I'm gonna have to water again tomorrow, so maybe I'll bring you guys out for a little bit of gardening. Oh, I've got my first flax flower. Hell yeah. Oh, I love that. Yay. And then nasturtium's still going well, as are the peppers. And those are my very large loofah. They are about the size of my forearm. Okay, they are literally about the size of my freaking forearm. But yeah, everything's going pretty well. This is just my little, miniature compost pile. Which apparently has more sweet potato growing through it. But yeah, real loofah. So real loofah is a gourd, and when you dry it out, it kind of pulls away from its fiber center. And then you can cut it open, use it like a sponge or a good exfoliant. But yeah, just make sure that they dry out fully in between each scrubby, or else they more easily grow mold and other bacteriums or mildew. So yeah, make sure they are like super, like, well taken care of and dried. Yes, right. I love the fact that my little flax are already getting flowers. That part. I will definitely talk on 2025 in just a moment. Yeah. Oh, it was a sponge. Oh, it was a sponge that... Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. But yeah, Project 2025. Pardon, I was a little bit unhinged. Thank you, darling. Well, natural sponge, like actual natural sponge, is a living organism. And if they are not properly cured and dried, they get real funky. Like really, really badly funky really, really quick. Oh, hell no. Fuck that noise. Keep that away. Oh, yeah, that's it. That noise. Keep that away. Oh, yeah, that's it. 25. Oh, thank you. Actually, I need to pull that a little bit higher. My bantam tail. Oh, I hope I'm not pausing too much for other people. Thank you. It could also be my cadence. Sometimes I will start thinking and I pause, but apparently I freeze in place when I take a mental pause. So, might just be that. Project 2025 is... It needs to be stopped. It absolutely needs to be stopped. It is 1,000% a Christo-fascist manifesto. Oh no, you're getting the little dots. Oh no. Try closing all the way out and then coming back in. Sometimes TikTok does this. It's so fucking annoying. Yeah, we do love octopuses. Octopi? Octopods? They are escape artists. They're fucking just brilliant little creatures. Most crustaceans would be mortal if not for the fact that if they can't shed, they unalive. Octopuses. Okay, for the longest time, I wasn't quite sure if it was octopuses or octopi. Because, you know, sometimes Greeks and Romans, fucking dead languages. Bleh. That part. Jellyfish. The immortal jellyfish. So simple as a creature. Project 2025. Ah, yes. Project 2025, Christo-fascist. 2025 is not when it starts to be implemented. 2025 is the end date. They've been working on this for decades. Literally decades. And they've got a lot of it already in place. To right the damage that has already been done is going to take decades. Possibly generations, maybe even lifetimes. Honestly. But we still need to absolutely oppose every last ounce of it. Because it is literally going to criminalize anything that falls outside of Christianity. Is going to criminalize anything that falls outside of a very narrow version of Christianity at that. It is going to enforce that religion on everyone. And not only is it going to criminalize everything that you love and everyone that you love, it is going to make the world the most boring and dangerous place you have ever been in. Because repression, especially repression of expression of self, expression of one's identity, expression of one's art, is shown to have real psychological and physical backlash. And as a whole society, when people get repressed, the ways that they act out those repressed emotions or thoughts become hyper violent. Honestly, Christians of that particular ilk have some of the most unhinged ideas of what everyday regular ass people are getting up to. And that becomes ingrained in their head. And a lot of times those are their own particular leanings, their own particular biases, their own particular addictions coming through. And because they feel such deep guilt and shame for having those proclivities, it becomes a game of trying not to get caught. It becomes a competition to see who can do the most depraved thing and get away with it. And the very fact that we have a felon with 34 guilty counts, twice impeached, PDF file, proven PDF file, who preyed upon children as young as 10 years old. And they are allowed to run for president instead of being buried under the jail. Not to mention that a-hole was then allowed to, over the last weekend, stage a stunt that cost a man his life, that left behind a wife and kids, that was absolutely farcical in nature, and was an absolute lie that was meant to activate a very violent part of his base. And he wore his lie proudly on his head. Because if you saw where his ear got hit, there are several pictures of him out golfing the next day. He hadn't even called the widow. And as far as I know, he still hasn't. But there's many pictures of him the next day. Both sides, no bandages. Both sides, no stitches, no ugliness, nothing going on. And then the next day after that, there are pictures of him at a new rally with a poorly fashioned, basically pillow, like a maxi pad looking thing, over his ear. After there was clear photographs of no damage on one side of his head, where he was supposedly shot. Because if you got hit by a round from an AR-15 in the cartilage, you'd be missing most of your ear. There's no doubt about that. And the young man who should not have done what he did, but the young man who did that, he was packing with an AR-15. It's hard to have any faith in anything when shit like that happens. And yet still he has a fanatical base who are just like, it's a miracle he was healed. It's like, nah, he never got hit. Like, how did what? Like, what? Yeah, like it's hard to get even no, that's the whole thing. It's like it's hard to even get confirmation on shit, but he was apparently clearly tweeting from wherever he was golfing or some shit like that. But it's like just to get full salient information on what actually happened and what is actually going on, it's like half the time you don't know if it's misinformation, half the time you don't know if it's just being called misinformation. Like the whole damn thing is just so fucking what the shit. Yeah, and like don't worry, like even I'm like questioning, because it's like what the fuck, man? Like what is going on here? Like what is going on here? Where's the transparency? But like the fact that what was it? Palm-colored male supremacists started calling the female Secret Service members DEI hires. I'm like, what? What? Although, yeah, they were so comically Keystone Cop. They either truly did not care about that man's safety, which, you know, I wouldn't blame them, or they were like literally in on the attempt. And I'm not saying the attempt was an actual attempt. I'm saying like the plan to make it look like that this shit happened, so that they could run their guy and win. See, right? Botulism for president. Honestly, at this point, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And yeah, it's like, God damn it, could I just get back to the good old days where I could be NSFW online away from anybody who might be considered a child for the most part, where people had goddamn common sense, as it were, and we just had fun, and we knew that parents should be policing their own children or taking care of their own children rather than expecting the internet to babysit for them. Yeah, well, staged doesn't necessarily mean that people weren't unalive. Staged just means it was planned, and people did unalive, and that might have actually been part of the plan, which makes my stomach turn. That they planned to have some of their base unalived, again, in order to bolster, in order to martyr, like however you want to call it. And I'm just like there's so much wrong. The guy was at an elevated position, looking at an elevated dais that was clearly within, a shot perimeter. Nobody had apparently secured that building. Like, it was just like, it was a comedy of errors. But like, procedure-wise, there's no way that both the Secret Service and local law enforcement, by the way, who do not have jurisdiction when Secret Service is around, okay? Cops do what Secret Service tells them to do when Secret Service is in town. Secret Service is the only entity that controls that area because they are keeping safe incredibly sensitive people. So yeah, like, it just so much of it just does not make sense. So much of it did not follow procedure that it makes the entire thing farcical. Like, Trump should have been grabbed at the first shot and then hauled off stage within 10 seconds, head down, like, physically moved and covered the entire time. And instead they're letting him stand up and do the fist pump. No, you don't know if you still have an active... And why and how were there photographers in front of them to take that picture? Because if you're a Secret Service member and you see somebody level up at your person and you don't know if the event is still active, you'd be either pushing them down or taking them out in some pretty fast fashion, and then again just moving the guy. It took them well over 30 seconds to get him moving, and he was like talking about, oh, I want my shoes. bitch, you don't get a choice in your shoes. Your body is no longer yours. We are getting you out of here. So yeah, like, it was wild. Wild. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, then, and I mean, look at who his running mate is now. No, no. He apparently only was hit, like, here. Like, it was supposedly he was only hit in the ear. But, like, we don't even know. At this point, we don't even know, like, to the extent of, like, how much of this was manufactured and or by who. Although we've got some really good ideas as to who. Yeah, I was like, I think it was just the ear. I think somebody in the crowd was struck in the leg, because there was like 3 or 4 injuries, and at least one of those injuries was fatal. So yeah, like, I think he was just supposedly nicked in the ear by teleprompter glass. So yeah, it's like, again, it's that thing where we can't even get good salient information on what actually happened, like, to any point and extent. All we can do is look at what eyewitnesses, like, video recorded or took pictures of. Now, what would happen if we didn't have extra eyewitnesses? What would happen if we didn't have people who were taking, phone recordings or phone pictures? What if this was quite literally all just by, what the mass media told us, what radio told us, what newspaper told us? There would be a lot harder time confirming or not confirming the different angles of the event. And honestly, with the way our world is going, with the way they're trying to censor where we can get our information from and how we can disseminate that information, they are looking at dragging us basically back to Bonfire of the Vanities. They're trying to make us go back to the Dark Ages. And I'm not even being facetious at this point. I'm really not being facetious at this point. If you don't know what Bonfire of the Vanities was, it was back, I think, near the 12th century, roughly? Possibly a little bit before or after? Can never remember. Somewhere, I think, between the 1100s and 1200s. There have been different points in time where religion took over and religion burned culture. Religion burned art. Religion suppressed self-identity and expression. And when they destroyed all those things, they were also destroying information that could have taught people better. I am still convinced that the Vatican holds a vast amount of information and knowledge that would paint a very different version of history if we were allowed to read it. As it is, the Roman Catholic Church holds on to a vast amount of wealth, knowledge, art, sculpture, and, this one's gonna get you, erotica, that they will not let the general public see because it would cause the church to be viewed in a very different fashion. Very different. But yeah. We're just supposed to, whatever's put out in front of us, we're just supposed to eat it, right? God love that. God love that. Fuck me. All I know is we gotta fight. I'm not exactly sure how. I'm not exactly sure all the ways. But I mean, a good part of that is going to be focusing on one's own communities especially nearby communities, and then coordinating so that we're all doing roughly the same thing at the same time and showing each other support. Kind of like how the Irish show support for every single oppressed nation around the world. Boy, do they go hard about it, and I love them for it. I really do. Like, more and more people are waking up, especially working class. They are. So what else is on other people's minds? Not just mine. Sorry, clean up. Come on, guys. Come on. You could do it. What do we want to talk about? Because you know me, I like to keep it rolling and swaying. It doesn't all have to be political. It does not all have to be workers' unions. Although, what shall we talk about? Sorry, this plate has decided to shift a little bit. How many countries have I visited? 2. I have visited the United States. Actually, I was born, bred, raised, and kept here. And then I've also visited Mexico. And I visited Mexico as a young teen, I believe it was, with my church. Because we were doing missions there. I have never had enough financial stability to go to other countries, but I desperately would love to go to places like Japan, especially to visit Okinawa and learn more about the Ainu people. I would love to go to, the Caribbean, not as a tourist, but actually, like learn about the people and their culture and have, sup with them. I think I would enjoy going a lot of places, but I also have to be very careful where I go because I'm this. I stick out. While I can blend in most places, there are just certain parts of me that are, and the last thing I need is somebody thinking that I am an easy target and that I won't fight back. Because the laws surrounding things like grape in other countries, especially in Europe, are fucked up. I will never go to Italy. Seriously, what the fuck? Sorry. I will never go to Italy because of the grape culture there and because of how aggressive and violent the men can be. And if you are not wearing the right clothing, the judge will just blame you on being too open. You were asking for it, basically. So yeah, I won't be going to a lot of countries because it's literally not safe for me. If I had a superpower, what would it be? I would love to be a reality ripper. If you don't know what reality rippers are, people who can warp reality, usually within a set space. I would, I don't want to be all powerful. I don't want to be like able to control the universe. No. I want to be able to create a pocket universe and control a sphere, basically, within, say, 100 yards of myself. And, be able to affect stuff within that range. I don't want, like, super, super long distance. Only because I know that power could be abused far too easily. So yeah, I'd love to be a reality ripper, somebody who could reshape reality as they see fit. Possibly permanently, possibly, not permanently, depends on. It would be great if I could keep continual control over, like, one structure. Like, one house or one mansion kind of thing. And, have that continually, that is my place, that is my space. But then also bring some of that power out into the real world and never have to worry about being too far away and having it, like, revert back to wherever I started from, like, a bare lot. But yeah, I think Reality Ripper would be interesting, and it would be one heck of a power. To say the least, it would be one heck of a power, because it just comes down to your imagination and how quickly you can think on the fly. Which, seeing as how I have ADHD, I'm just saying. Yeah, no, you're absolutely... You're welcome. You're welcome. Again, I like talking about all different kinds of subjects. They don't always have to be, like, happy or super positivity or anything like that. I like being able to talk about everything. And sometimes being able to talk about everything will help either put things in perspective for other people or help explain, like, small bits of nuance that maybe just weren't readily available. And sometimes it also helps me shift my own perspective of looking at things. I don't see why anybody still supports that man on any level. He is vile, he is gross, he is disgusting. He's a liar. He is a charlatan. And, I mean, the moment I found out that he came from apartheid-era African emerald mine money, I knew that he was going to be a shit human being. So, yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. He tried to rename Twitter X. You want to know why he tried to rename it X? Because he likes the letter X. And he's a fucking dumbass. So yeah, not like... I think I have a butt cheek left that he can kiss. But yeah, like the very fact that you're going to have a little hissy fit and move your company's headquarters to a place where you know you can treat your employees like shit, that tells me all I need to know about you. I only like the X if there's 3 of them. I'm just saying. I'm sorry, that one was just for me. I also took in way too much air doing that. I wouldn't be buying Tesla anyways. Like, have you seen how bad the Cybertruck is? That thing is a rolling... So much injury, so much wrong with it. The self-driving cars that have, like, literally worse driving records than a human being? Like, raccoons are trying to pry Cybertrucks open because they think they're dumpsters. The damn things don't have a primer coat or any sort of paint on them, so it is just exposed metal that is not galvanized in such a way as to resist rust. The damn things rust. Their sensors on their self-closing trunk don't work after a while, and they will close on your fingers. Like, they can't go up a hill. They crack glass when it gets too warm outside. They stop functioning well when it's too cold and lose all of their energy efficiency. Like, they're shit. They're absolute shit. So far, it's only been coffee for a while. Mostly because I've just been in a very coffee mood, although I've got some decent... I think I've got some decent teas that I could probably switch over to, but yeah, no, just... The coffee makes me a little bit aggro. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah! Yeah, I saw the damn things in person on the LA freeway. I'm like, oh, shit, no. Like, I drove by and felt the heat of the sun trying to take my eyelashes. Like, I'm like, the fuck is wrong with your car? That's not environmentally good. Like, they're awful. Do it. Drink the wine for me, because I can't drink wine. Wine does not feel good in my system. Drink the wine for me. I toast to you. Prost. Salute. Cheers. Toast. I don't give a damn if it's boxed wine, bottled wine, 100-year-old wine. Fucking drink it for me and, like, tell me how good it is, because I can't drink wine. It makes my system feel like shit. They are. They're just so ugly, boxy clips. They look like a military vehicle that forgot how to render in, like, a 1994 PC game. Like, it's got more hard angles than the original Lara Croft's pointy, conical boobs. Like, it is bad. Fuck yeah. Have you tried Screwball peanut butter whiskey? It is fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. And if you can mix it with a little something that has like a bit of a fruity kick to it, you get like a PB&J with some oomph to it. Oh, you saw one in... Oh, how is it functioning in Austin? I mean, they're not known for being able to survive heat or cold very well, which is just sad. And most of the Cybertruck guys who dick ride for Muskie Boy, they like to poorly Photoshop their Cybertrucks doing cool things like going up inclines, but then they forget to like change the way doors hang or the way lanyards hang from their neck. So like their lanyards are hanging at an angle in the picture because they're supposedly going up at an angle like this, but their lanyard is pointing towards the ground rather than going off to the side where gravity would fucking pull them. It's hilarious to watch both his inventions fail and the people who still ride him going, yes, Daddy Muskie, ride me harder, I stand for you. I'm like, bitch, you look like a bitch. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? It's wild. It's wild. I'm just saying. If I'm wrong, but you know I'm not, but you know I am not. I'm just saying. I am just saying. Hey, look, if he doesn't want me to call Twitter, then I cannot call him by his name either. That part. Yeah, right? Like, okay, so if you know anything about Hollywood, and it's red, there's WeHo, there's NoHo, and then there's, a couple places in between. So North Hollywood, West Hollywood, some other places in between. These streets in Hollywood, especially heading up into the Hollywood Hills, get increasingly more narrow, to the point where some of them are practically like a single car kind of deal, like with a little bit of room on either side so you can maneuver. That's about it. Like, so narrow that the trash trucks have right of way. Because they can't back up, you need to back up. Which means if they're coming around that corner, you better back your ass up real quick, and hopefully somebody will have an open driveway that you can scrape your ass up into as they come past. So yeah, like, when you try and maneuver around corners, you have to have a very, very nimble vehicle. If you don't, you will more than likely scrape. And we've got like a lot of rocky hills. We've got a lot of thorny brush. We've got some very, very steep downhills. So like falling off or smacking into something in the Hollywood region, you're going to come away with car damage at the very least. If worse, they're going to be towing your ass back up a hill, and you're going to get towed to a collision shop. And that's scary shit. So yeah. Yeah, like, if you hear people honking in the Hollywood Hills, they're not honking to be a dick. They're honking to make sure that there aren't cars coming around a bend, because during the day you can't see headlights. So you're honking to make sure that people know that there is a car coming around a bend. And that's why you do not drive more than roughly 15, maybe 20 miles an hour. Hi, Leah, thank you very much. But yeah, you gotta be so careful just going around those corners. So much could go wrong. And then yeah, at nighttime, you usually have your headlights on, your brights if nobody else is around. If you've got two people coming towards each other, you drop down to your regular lights, and then as you pass each other, you pop your highlights back on. But yeah, like, you gotta be so careful driving in California in the hills. Los Angeles National Forest, Hollywood Hills, any of our hilly areas. The Grapevine is another one. And with Grapevine, be so careful, especially if you're running your air conditioning. I don't care what part of the season it is. Be so careful when you're driving over the Grapevine. Because when you're going over, like, Tejon Pass, those areas, those steep uphills cause your motor to rev to high, and it drives your internal engine temperature up, because you are having sustained uphill climbs where your engine has to work a lot harder. If you have your air conditioning going, especially on a hot day, you can blow a radiator so fucking fast, and then you are stuck. And it takes forever for, like, the tow truck to get to you, and their prices are... yeah, sticker shock. So be ever so careful. Yeah, Big Bear, Mammoth. Oh my goodness. Mammoth? Lovely town. Honestly, lovely town. But holy hell, when you're going up to, like, Lake George, Lake Mary, Twin Lakes, those drives are so narrow. And you can absolutely miss the difference between going over a mountainside versus going down a steep driveway. Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was in a car where somebody missed the damn driveway and ended up backing up over the ledge that was right next to the driveway. So we're on the driveway. Oh shit, no we're not. And yeah, just everybody looking up at the sky going, well, fuck. And they had to get a tow truck out there to basically pull it back up over the wall, over the ledge, as it were, scrape the living shit out of the bottom of that vehicle. But, you know, luckily the undercoating is pretty damn tough, but still, shit yourself right there, because you're just like, we're gonna, oh, no, we stopped moving, okay, gonna cry for about 5 minutes, okay, like, let's get out of the car now. Do I know how to, oh yes, I definitely know how to drive. I've been driving that long, oh my god, no. I've been driving for about 28 years now. Roughly. Yeah, 28, 29 years. I also did 2 years as a delivery driver. I was a liaison for a fashion house for a little while, driving samples and other stuff. I know how to drive in very, very tight situations, and I almost had my Class B license for one of the jobs that I was training at. So yeah, I'm definitely seasoned. Yeah, trust me, it was not me driving that car. I was not old enough at that point in time, but yeah, it was definitely not me driving that car, because I would have either lined up my ass end first to make sure I was getting out, or I would have found a way to get myself turned around so that I was coming out, like, nose first, because there ain't no way in shit I want to miss a driveway that has places that you can fall off and get horrifyingly hurt. Mm-hmm. Sort of miss Mammoth at times. Not overly much. Fucking cold and mountainy, and I don't don't like mountain driving. I am not a fan of mountain driving. Especially not if there's any sort of wet or slick or possibility of ice. I am not a fan of ice. Ugh. I also have no idea how to put chains on a car, so, like, I know where my limitations are when it comes to driving and under what conditions. Oh, no. Like, San Francisco is insane. Those hills, those steep ass, like, their hills are as bad as Washington. Seattle, Washington. Seattle, their hills are, Jesus. Like, who are you mad at when you built these things? San Francisco, same thing. They're like, we're going to have gravity work for us. Just go ahead. It's good. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Lombard Street. Who came up with Lombard Street? Like, that person needs to be smacked the shit out of. That part. So packed full of people that there is never parking. And they never accounted for things like needing parking structures. I'm like, at a certain point of population density, you should automatically be reserving either space or something for just a parking structure. And anybody who lives within like an X amount of, area should be getting a parking space in that structure. Right? Well, and I mean, and here's the thing, it's like, when it comes to homeless people, we don't give them any way to get back on the grid. We don't give them a way to, like, get a job again or be rehoused. And I think it's something like somewhere between 40 and 60% of all homeless people have a job. Have a job and are, like, living in their cars or living in their tents and still working, but cannot get back into housing because you have to have, like, a previous address and a very high credit score and make, like, something like 3 times as much money as your rent. And it's like, it's wild that there's all these precursors to being able to get a home. But if you are homeless, it is going to be very hard to fulfill any of that. And it's like, and we have no way to get people back on because we have never really built a system to get people back on the grid. Not to mention, we are allowing other states to just bus people in and just drop them off. And honestly, I think any state that rounds up their homeless and displaces them to a new state should not only have to pay for the person and basically pay for them to get rehoused, but they should also be deeply penalized for not doing that for their own people. Why aren't you taking care of your own population? Why are you not helping them get back on their feet? Why are you shipping them elsewhere? And I will tell you why they are shipping them elsewhere, because more often than not, they are trying to get rid of people without having to actually do anything to help them. But also they're doing it as a gotcha to quote-unquote liberal states and liberal places. Who was it that just recently got planefuls of immigrants, migrant workers and their families, and just shipped them to California and dropped them off basically at the governor's mansion, as it were? They promised these people jobs and a place to stay and compensation and all this, that, and the third, and then literally showed up and just dropped them off. They literally kidnapped people. That is the perfect definition of coercive kidnap. Like, they didn't just snatch them like, oh my god, we gotta run, quick, throw them on a bus. No. They promised them something, coerced them into something, and then left them with nothing. Nothing at all. There were children that this was done to. Children, women, some who were pregnant. Like nobody deserved that. And then they did the same thing where they took a plane full, like, literally, you're crossing state lines with this shit. It's so fucking illegal. And yet, the people who orchestrated this, none of them are in jail. None of them were charged with a capital crime. None of them were charged with a felony. And, like, the fact that they are not being, and these were politicians that did this, literally politicians that did this, how they are not being held accountable, that is the massive thing that is wrong with the United States right now. Is they are not being held accountable at all. And I would never tell people how to hold them accountable, per se. But if you want to get something done, people need to start showing up at the governor's mansion and asking questions. And if the governor decides that they're not going to be at their mansion or answer those questions, more people need to show up. And more people need to show up, and more people need to show up until they have to answer those questions. Show up anywhere that they are going to be. Anywhere that they are supposed to be doing their job. Demand that they do their job. Put into, like, petition and put into legislation that if a elected official doesn't show up to their job and work, at least 300 days out of the year, you only get your weekends off, kind of thing. If you don't show up, you don't get paid. If you don't show up, you don't get your health care. If you don't show up and do your job, guess what? Then you don't have a job. Because if any of us only showed up for 200 days out of, like, the 365, how many of us would have health care? How many of us would be able to keep a roof over our heads? How many of us would still have a job when it's supposed to be a year-round deal? None of us. Because 200 versus the next 165, yeah, they're showing up maybe a little over 50% of the time. I don't think any of us get that kind of sweet-ass work-life balance now, do we? The fact that any of them are allowed to take money of any variety, from PACs, from churches, from anybody, from billionaires. The fact that somebody can take a fucking trip with a billionaire, and I mean billionaire with a B, as a kickback for making a ruling in favor, you both should be going to jail. You both should be going to jail in very short fashion. The only thing holding accountability back is that not enough people are showing up. Not enough people are putting pressure where pressure needs to be put. The only thing that's stopping accountability from happening is we aren't making them afraid of what their actions will incur. I'm picking my words carefully. But yeah, they keep just doing whatever they please, and since they don't have to look us in the face, they don't care, because they can't hear us. Notice we've gotten a lot more done when we were actually in the room. When we choke the rafters with our bodies, showing up, looking down on them, going, hey, you better, we're voting for you, this is what we want, then they start doing things. But when they don't think the rabble have enough energy in them to actually put up a fight, they will steamroll straight through us and not care until they literally get punched in the jaw, as it were. People are tired. People are afraid. People don't know that they have a right to resist. They think that they have to just follow what every unjust law says. And we've honestly forgotten so much from the civil rights era. Because in the civil rights era, if a law was unjust, we resisted it en masse. Segregation was unjust. We started showing up to those schools anyways. We started boycotting buses. Boycotted buses for a year and a half. They lost so much revenue that certain bus lines went under. But yeah, it's literally showing up as a community, as a whole, especially at a local level. That's where you get change made. But it's really hard to do sometimes because people are just trying to keep a roof over their head and running themselves into the ground doing that. So they don't really have enough time to do all the research, to get all the information so that they can, get to the city council meeting and actually put their voice in to be heard, which sucks on so many levels. Hey! It's going. I'm doing my best with it. It's definitely going, though. It's the same as everything else. Yeah, people are just straight up exhausted. Mm-hmm. And here's what frightens me about our level of exhaustion right now. It means something like 2025 is going to come to pass, which means getting rid of 2025 and the Christo-fascist government that it will install is going to take a lot of deep red. And it's going to be ugly because people, it seems, are going to let minorities go by the wayside because that's been the easy part to do the entire time. And they're not going to do something until it hits them in the fucking face. By that time, not only will your numbers be weakened by quite a bit, that means you were more than okay with minorities being eliminated to begin with. And that the only time you would actually stand up for somebody is when it literally affects you in the face. Which, apathy is what will undo us all. 1,000%. Like, we are pretty much exhausted simply by existing. Simply by how much existing even costs us. I am 1,000% you are correct. That part. Yeah, there's like, well, it's the funny thing is there's plenty that's adding up, but when you put it into a sentence, it sounds like a conspiracy theory, and we've been taught that anything that sounds like a conspiracy theory is just crackpot. It can't be actually real, it's crackpot. But it's not. There are certain conspiracy theories, because conspiracy is an actual thing. There are certain conspiracy theories that are very true and very, very real, but they're literally mired by a lot of misinformation and actual, like, crackpot theories, much like QAnon. QAnon is pretty much a psyop. They are meant to throw as much disinformation out there, as many, unhinged theories as they possibly can out there. So that when something real and true but wild comes along, something that feels like it's beyond the pale, you just go, oh no, it must be the same as all this other stuff that seems really, really out there. Yeah, like all the theories that were surrounding, 9/11 and whatnot, like, so many things. But yeah, like for the longest time, we were told anybody who believed in aliens was just out of their mind. That aliens didn't actually exist. Oh, these were just people who were unhinged. They weren't mentally well. No, there's no such thing as aliens. No such thing as aliens. No such thing as aliens. What happened last year? We got confirmation of aliens. We got confirmation of we've had alien contact. And that we've had things that were alien in nature, that were in our atmosphere, or, checking out some stuff that was in, ground level and shit. And it's like, huh. And trust me, for like a good 2-3 days, I had a fucking existential crisis. Because I'm just like, are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? And then I went, okay, so they haven't attacked. Then they haven't made, like, contact. Like, they haven't been talking to us. And they're not paying my rent. And they're not, they're not offering to take me off-world to become their space princess / galaxy heroine. And they're not trying to take over, as far as you know. Well then, fuck, they don't really matter that much now, do they? Right. I just either want my rent paid or I want to be a space princess, one of the two. Give me like a hot alien guy that I can like pose on a romance cover. He can wrap himself around my leg and I'll just be standing there with a lightsaber and some shit, like, like, but it's like they're not doing anything to harm nor help us, so like, fuck them. Fuck them. Oh, Lord, I'm sorry. Oh, my God. That part. Either make it worth my while or stay your ass in space. Oh, yay! I will get those shipped out tomorrow for you, my darling. Right. If you're not helping me write space fanfic that is muddier than anything I could dream of my own, I don't care. Go away. I swear to God, if it turns out to be a Skrull situation, I will lose my frickin' mind. I will laugh my ass off, but I will lose my frickin' mind. Thank you so much. I've got to pop these dentures. They just want to... Sorry, I put them in this morning. So they've been flapping around in there for a bit. But yeah. No, so, yes, if you do want to find me around the web, if you would like to support me by buying some art or anything to that effect, by all means, feel free to go over, check out my link to Ko-fi. I've got a lot of stuff in there. I will be posting up more. I am working on, again, putting myself out there. I'm sorry, I love doing the Oz set. I like doing sets that are inspired by, like, art and pop culture and that kind of stuff, so... Or moments that you just want to, like, relax. So, like, I do a lot of stuff that is based on, like, walks on the beach, or, going out to get boba, just, like, chill kind of stuff a lot of the times. Oh, my goodness. Oh, thank you so much. Honestly, thank you so much. That part. Oh my God, when they say they're taking black jobs, I'm like, who are you trying to convince, and what are these so-called black jobs? Because if you are black, if you are a person of color, you know exactly what they mean when they say those black jobs. There is a tone. There is an overall feel to how they say something when they are trying to code it as a slur. And my whole thing is, it's 2024. If you're just gonna be a jackass, just be a jackass. We know what you're talking about, you jackass. Hello, hey Spooker. Oh no, we were just talking about aliens of all varieties. Including the fact that we have proof of there being, like, alien that exists and who have, come in and been like, hey, and like been in our atmosphere and shit. But yeah, like we as a society have not been given open access or commentary to said aliens, which honestly I'm sure that they are watching our news feeds and then like coordinating with information with people they pick up like off the ground, like, is this shit actually happening? We're like, I don't know. I are you taking me with? No, you're putting me back down there. Really? Honestly, it must be a lot like when you go fishing and you catch a fish and you, instead of like taking it home to fry up, when you like do a catch and release, you're like, oh, okay. Boop. You know that fish is going back and talking to the rest of the fish going, you're not going to believe this, Bill. Like, this was wild. So, like, they grab me by the side of my mouth and they pull me up out of the water. Like, are you sure you didn't leap a little too hard? Maybe bop your head maybe a little. Right. That part. So yeah, you probably live in an area that has very low light pollution. When you live near like cities or places where you have like a lot of street lamps, you lose the ability to see a lot of those stars because the light basically it blinds you. It's kind of like the same concept of if you're in a dark house, your outside window will be a little bit more reflective, but like if you turn on a light inside, suddenly it illuminates the inside of your house and people will be able to see through the window. So it's basically the same principles. That part. You saw all this shit and you're gonna make me go back? That part. Pardon as I get some of this out of here. I'm getting better. I know you probably don't have any idea, but I'm getting better at application with this gel. Pardon. There we go. But yeah, like again, it's all these things that we could be doing so much better. Literally, we could be doing so much more innovative, much further forward in design if we weren't serving the 5% who are a bunch of spoiled, rotten children who don't want anybody else to have toys and would rather break the entirety of society so that they were the only people left with any. Honestly, the top 1% would rather see all of humanity end rather than give us anything. They are willing to build bunkers and burn the entirety of society and the functional world down till there is nothing left on this rock, just to get the last dime, rather than let us have a functional, healthy society and ecosystem. Oh yeah. Like most of them don't know how to do basic math. They don't know how to do basic math on what a 40-hour work week pays, let alone what stuff costs. Like listening to them do math is like listening to a 5-year-old mimic multiplication tables. Well, let's see. 40 times $10 an hour. You must be making 6 figures a year, right? In who? What? Dude, you have a calculator on your phone. Type those numbers in and run that again. 10 times 40 is 400. 400 per week times 4 is 1,600 for the month. 1,600 for the month, you take at least 20% of that off in taxes. So you're going down to what, like roughly 1,300? Yeah, a little bit below 1,300 actually. And that 1,300 is somehow supposed to cover all of your different insurances, all of your different utilities, all of your, your vehicle gas, plus, medical, food, and rent. And they think somehow you're supposed to cover $4,000 in rent off of a 40-hour work week at a place that pays minimum wage. And it's like none of your math is mathing. And you're in charge of things like our fucking banks. And yet you're not paying your bank tellers enough to actually live. It's practically you need 6 figures now just to live with a little bit of breathing room. Like $50,000 used to be able to get you through a year, nice, healthy, with some savings. $50,000 a year, now you are scraping by. That part. 6 figures is the new 50K. You're 100% correct. Yeah, the credit card debt at like 24 to 34% interest per year. Meaning, if you spend $1,000 at the end of the year, if that hasn't been paid off, you're spending like an extra $300 some odd dollars. It's like, are you fucking kidding? Right? Unemployment is like 1/2 of whatever you were making, as if whatever you were making was going to keep you fucking housed. And you only get something like, 6 months of unemployment. Like, there are times that you want to rage. You want to rage. You really do. But, I'm trying my best not to. Although people do apparently like it when I get a bit fiery. Honestly, I mean, between that and the fact that, we target independent businesses, we target small businesses. We don't provide universal healthcare, which would take a massive weight off of, small businesses, independent contractors, all that, people who need a little bit of breathing room and some actual healthcare. We don't provide for that. Everything makes me angry at this point. Well, okay, and here's another thing. When they say that unemployment is at an all-time low, they stop counting if you are unemployed or not after a certain amount of time. After a certain amount of time, they don't care whether or not you're employed. They no longer record you on the unemployment statistic. So when they say it's an all-time low, is it because it is at an all-time low? Or is it because you stopped counting how many people are still literally out of work and therefore bolstered the number? Hey! Right, too much debt is bad, but you have to have some debt or else it's also bad somehow. All because of 1989, we developed the credit score, which is some bullshit. Not only is the credit score, surprise, racist. The credit score is also deeply socioeconomically tied with trying to prevent the poor, impoverished, and working class across the board from being able to properly purchase property so that they could pass on generational wealth. So it's not just that it is also that it is targeting working class people and excluding them from the process across the board. Doesn't even have to be about race. It's but it is multi-layered on so many levels, and it'll make you rage. Yeah, and there's no real rules to credit. There are really no rules to credit. Right, that part. Well, they can afford it because they're buying it. Bitch, if I don't buy them, I literally starve to unalive. What do you expect me to do? And I will tell you right now, we're buying a lot less. And then these companies have the nerve to complain that we are buying less. And then they're telling us, oh, well, you should just eat cereal. Get fucked, Kellogg. Oh, yeah. Well, he's more than just Delulu. He is actively helping worse people do worse things, and he doesn't care. He is part of the 1%. He really doesn't care. Think of our government currently as good cop, bad cop. That's what they're playing at right now. One side clearly is playing bad cop. The other side is actually rather clearly playing good cop. And guess what? They're playing for the same team. And that team is against all of us. So you have one that feigns incompetence or inability, but promises to do something if you just support them enough. And then the other side is like, we're just gonna take it. We're just gonna do the thing. And you're like, maybe we should go with the one that keeps promising that they'll do better. Even though they have absolutely zero intention of actually doing better, and they're doing nothing to actually dissuade the other side from harming us worse. So, hello, darling. So far, pretty good. How's your day going? Or your night going, Angel? Yeah, no, like there's been a huge uptick in people trying to figure out how to farm some of their own stuff. I mean, we used to have victory gardens, and we used to encourage people to grow some sort of food for themselves. But, like, as time went on, our government understood that being able to make our own food meant we didn't have to rely on them. And we especially didn't have to rely on them to help keep prices down and to make sure that our food was safe, because we could just go to people who are local and would tell us, oh yeah, you know, we use this, we use that, we use a third, or no, we just did all organic, or, you know, give you a background and history to it. So yeah, like, that's why they started making farmers markets so much harder to attend. That's why they started making victory gardens a thing you couldn't have in your front yard anymore. This is why they stopped letting you collect rainwater. Even though, yes, some people were storing their rainwater incorrectly, which was a whole other thing, but like they aren't teaching you how to collect it and store it properly. They aren't teaching you how to, you know, reasonably raise things without using a ton of water. They aren't teaching you how to recycle, how to compost, how to do a lot of things, because that means you wouldn't have community self-sufficiency. Not even just personal self-sufficiency, but community self-sufficiency. And again, it's all a plot, so it sounds wild, but again, it's the 1% versus the all, and it's a means of control, and it sucks. Oh, nice. Nice. Oh, winding down after a long day? Okay. Welcome to it. We're having a little go through, a little row. We talk a little bit about everything and nothing here. Some days it's much more light and fun and happy and haha. Other days it can be a little bit more serious. I have ADHD, so you're going to see me doing any number of things on any given day. So if you like the vibe, feel free, come on through. Make sure you like, you join, all those things. Thank you. Oh my goodness, we're over 9,000. Yeah. Thank you so much for all the likes, the love. Thank you for the subscriptions, for the gifting, and all that kind of stuff. If you wish to find me around the net, feel free to check the links in bio. The throne room is the best keys to the kingdom for the spicier stuff. I tend to post the same across the boards on that, just so everybody's getting the same whatnot. But yeah, feel free to have at. Find me all over the place, and I love doing these lives because I like to banter, I like to chat and talk. But yes, I am trying to diversify all the ways that I can do that. So I also do have a coffee where you can give direct support, where you can also get artwork from. Oh, and if you want art commissions, there are art commissions available on Coffee. They start at like $20, and we can go up from there depending on what the size of the project is. Between that and the insider trading, that, by the way, insider trading is illegal. Even if you're a congressional member, even if you're a politician, especially actually if you're a politician, insider trading is deeply illegal, and we need to really strongly push for politicians to be held accountable for insider trading, because their insider trading not only is crashing parts of our economy, it is actively hurting us as citizens, and they need to be felons. They need to be felons with a golden parachute in a jail cell. And I don't care if they spend the last few years of their life shitting into a diaper behind bars. You broke the fucking law in the most epic of fashions while actively harming the people you're supposed to be protecting. You can unalive in prison for all I give a fuck. Welcome to accountability, asshole. I am not a gentle person when it comes to a person going to prison for certain reasons. Those reasons, you need to rot, because you hurt the populace. You didn't hurt one person, you hurt millions. Now, on the other flip side of that, I think the justice system that we currently had deeply needs to be reformed, and we need to move much more towards a restorative form of justice rather than a punitive form of justice. That would take a lot of doing, though, and we need to move towards that. We really need to move towards that, because that not only makes a safer society overall, it means you have a much more productive society overall. And we need to take the stigma away from people who have served their time. Do we need to be aware of some of the shit they did? Absolutely, yes. But, like, especially when it comes to, like, white-collar crime, that needs to be looked at a little bit more closely, rather than, say, petty crimes. Things that were a crime of poverty. And the very fact right now that we can... you can be poor, and you can get more time for being poor rather than being rich and hurting millions. Being poor and stealing from a business will get you more time than being rich and stealing from millions of people. Like, to the point where they lose their homes, to the point where they lose their jobs, where they lose their health care, where they lose everything. Fucking Wells Fargo still exists as a banking entity, and I do not understand this at all. They opened up accounts under people's names, did a lot of shady shit, moved money around, sometimes took out second mortgages on homes, never told the original customer that the bank, did all these things, and then suddenly they send these customers a past due bill. Hey, by the way, your mortgage hasn't been paid for X amount of time. We're foreclosing on the home you're in. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is my home. I've been paying my mortgage this time. Nope. See, we've got paperwork with your name and all your info on it saying that you have this second mortgage that you took out and you didn't pay it. So you got to cough up your home. And they were legally allowed to take, like, foreclosure measures on people's homes, even though they were literally starting fake accounts in their own customers' names. Like, how people did not go to jail, and I might have been one of them, but for a slightly different reason as a customer, how people didn't go to jail over that, let alone how Wells Fargo was allowed to remain a bank that functions within the United States borders, beyond me. Beyond me. Like, purely in jest, purely, not even hypothetical, a jape, a jolly joke, I do say yet next. If they were to be given the Singaporean treatment, wherein their CEOs, board members, and upper echelon who made those decisions, plus the employees who actually went through and did that paperwork, were summarily taken out into the street and beaten with filleting rods until they passed out and possibly did not recover, that would be some measure of justice. Better yet, and this I mean far more or less as a jape, if their bank accounts were drained, if all of their property was sold, and those funds were used to repay the customers that they defrauded, bilked, and otherwise ruined, that would be some small measure of justice. If the entire institution was shut down, plus all of those people were held accountable and all of their shit was sold to repay those people that they defrauded, bilked, and otherwise fucked with, that would be justice. The fact that we keep bailing out corporations, banks, large businesses doesn't make a damn lick of sense. And honestly, I'm kind of wondering how much further the rich are going to be able to push the concept of money before, like, the majority goes, money isn't real, screw you. I'm tired of this shit. We need a better system. Because this ain't working. Because honestly, this world that we are currently living in, we aren't living under a democracy. We're not living under a republic. We are living under an oligarchy, a kleptocracy. Honestly, it feels like we're living under kingdoms, basically. We are serfs. We are peasants. We just don't seem to recognize it as such because it keeps getting renamed. And we keep thinking that, oh, we're better off because we have a little bit more technology, or oh, we're better off because we have slightly less illness. Oh, we're better off because they keep telling us that we're better off and we're not living into the sloppy streets of, 1600 England, where if you walked under somebody's, upper story, you could be showered in shit, as it were. We're told that that's somehow that we're better. Hell, America keeps being told that we're a first world nation. People don't know the difference between first world and third world, and they think that first world means really well taken care of, whereas third world means shit show. And it doesn't. First world versus third world just speaks about what your major exports are. A first world nation is going to have more conceptual products, IT, software, programming, technology. Whereas third world tends to produce more produce, more on the grounds kind of goods. That's the difference. Honestly, how we are being maintained colloquially, we are a third world nation with how bad our infrastructure is crumbling. Colloquially. But we are not the first world nation that we tout ourselves to be. We are, at best, the in-between between first and third. As it is, our infrastructure makes us much closer to a third. So, yeah. That part, yep. You're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, here we are. We all try to survive. We really gotta start, like, showing up for neighbors, though. And yeah, no, if your neighbor's an absolute dickhole and just, like, wrecking the place. But also, we need to start treating things much more like Popper's Paradox. If you don't know Popper's Paradox says that to have the most tolerant society, the most functional society, where the most people get along and can exist together, we must make sure that we are intolerant of intolerance. Intolerance being a a malignant force that is trying to eliminate certain sections of your population in detriment to the rest, and holding only their portion of the population above the rest, aka things like palm-colored supremacy, or like Zeos. Zeos are a big example, and please, for the love of God, learn the difference between a Zio and somebody who is Jewish. You do not need to be Jewish to be a Zio. A Zio is part of an ethno-state ideology. Therefore, you can be of any religion and be a Zio as long as you hold certain ideologies to be true as your focal point. There are a lot of Jewish people who are highly and aggressively resisting a lot of the Zionist states and are speaking out about it. But like, for I know why, which sucks. Hey, how you doing, Boston? But yeah, like, there are a lot of people who conflate those two, not realizing that religion actually has little to do with Zionist ideology. And our president, by the way, our current acting president, on live camera said that they are a Zion, which is one of the major reasons I will not be voting for him. Good? Oh, the week's flying by. Yeah. It is Wednesday, isn't it? This day is going, or actually this week is going by decently fast. Holy shit. But yay. So, how's everybody? Oh, goodness. It's coming up on the 8 o'clock, which means I'm supposed to be off and running. Let's see, tomorrow is Thursday, yes? Let's see, where am I going to be? I will probably most likely be on the Purple app and possibly here early in the day. Later in the day, I would like to get over onto LF and have some more fun over there and whatnot. I am still looking at all of the candidates involved. I might actually decide that this presidential election is a bit of a wash as it is, and focus more on community efforts and voting local, like state level, county level, city level. But yeah, as it stands, there's only a few people that I'm kind of looking at. I was looking at Jasmine Sherman, but then like I haven't seen like any expansions on their actual plans to do certain things. Like there's still a lot of blank space. And at this point in the game, you better have already had your game plan figured out. RFK is an absolute not. The man, he's not well. He's not well. And he's had very large personality shifts ever since he had a literal worm, cross the blood-brain barrier, set up shop in his brain, created a cyst when it passed away, and that has severely changed his capacity and his attitude, how he acts and reacts to things. And he's also become a very staunch anti-vaxxer who blames vaccines for autism, which is wild. I'm still trying to resolve Jill Stein, but she is still an older, palm-colored woman. And I don't know, something don't seem quite on the up and up with her. So I am still looking at who I want to vote for overall, but I think it may honestly come down to me voting for like state, county, and city, as it were. Because of red and blue, neither. Because both of them are very much into supporting a genocide. And no. Absolutely not. Yes. And that's just, it's an algorithm thing. I'm not allowed to say certain things. If I am, it is taken as if I am rallying against them, or, I'm insulting, or this, that, and the other. I get hit with these, weird things. So yeah, I have to be careful of certain words that I use. I wish I didn't. I really wish I didn't, because more often than not, I am simply talking about a population and how they are affected in the overall intersectionality of how our world and how our systems work. But yeah, I have to change the way I say certain things in order to not be thrown to the wolves, as it were. The algorithm wolves. Nope, that is empty. But yeah. Okay, I'm headed out. I think I'm gonna try and get a few more things done. Yeah! I will try and post up tomorrow, or even tonight in my stories, to tell y'all where I'm gonna be. Most likely, I'll be over on the Purple app, iTwitch, tomorrow, a little bit earlier on, and then later in the evening, possibly I will be over on LF for those loyal fans of Inna, and just vamping it up. So, see y'all there. Hope you have a lovely, lovely time. Good night, everybody. Please do your best to be, good to each other, and start researching local, county, state elections and seeing what kind of work we can get done there. Okay? Have a good one. Bye. Thank you.